Hello students, how are you? I am Devdi Bhattacharya, headmaster of the King Barasat Siddhasacharya High School. Today I am going to teach you a poem from your English textbook, Bliss. The poem is in lesson number 4 and the name of the poem is My Own True Family. This is a poem which is written by the famous English poet Ted Hughes. He was born in 1930 and died in the year 1998. Now, who is this Ted Hughes? You have to know something about Ted Hughes, though not in detail, but I think you should know a little bit about Ted Hughes' poetry. What kind of poetry Ted Hughes wrote, and what is the main characteristic feature of Ted Hughes' poetry? Now, I would say Ted Hughes' poetry is about nature, but not a nature we see in Wordsworth's poetry, a benevolent mother kind of nature. In Ted Hughes' poetry, we see a malevolent nature, a nature wearing in tooth and claw, as Tennyson had said in his famous poem, Poetry, In Memoriam. It's a nature which Darwin talks about. So, in Ted Hughes' poetry, we get a Darwinian nature, a nature which is wearing tooth and claw. Now, this poem, which we are going to read, is a different kind of a poem by Ted Hughes. This poem is written by Ted Hughes for a number of things, and I will tell you, this poem is written in several tercets. Now, what is a tercet? A tercet is a 3-line stanza. What is a tercet? A tercet is a 3-line stanza. You will notice this poem is written in 5 tercets. That means there are 15 lines in the entire poem, and there are in the 5 tercet. Tercet consists of 3 lines. Now I am going to teach the first 2 tercets today. Now the first tercet, it begins with once I crept, and it ends with my little bag. Now what is this poem all about? The name of the poem is, I repeat, My Own True Family. Now what family is Ted Hughes referring to? Is it the biological family that we all belong to, or it is something else? What kind of a family? He is saying my own true family. Then what kind of a family is referring to by saying true family? Do we live or do we belong to a false family? We don't know the answers of all these questions. In fact, I will or we will consider the title at the end of the poem. First, let us read the poem. And let me tell you some of the famous poems by Ted Hughes. I have written down here. Some of the famous poems written by Ted Hughes are Hawk Roosting, Hot Fox, and Crow. These are some of the famous poems by Ted Hughes. Today we are going to read this poem. So I am going to start. Once I crept in an oak wood. I was looking for a stag. I met an old woman there, all nobly stick and brag. She said, I have your secret here inside my little bag. Now what is he saying? The speaker, we don't know who is the speaker. The speaker is saying that he once crept, that means he entered in an oak wood tree. Sorry, in an oak wood. And I was looking for a stag, and he was probably looking for a stag. Now, you know the meaning of stag. Stag means male deer. So he was looking for a deer, probably for the purpose of hunting. I met an old woman there, but somehow we came across a old woman who is called a hag, H-A-G, hag. How was the old woman? The woman was all nobly stick and rag. How was the woman? Woman was nobly. That means she was unsteady, he was staggering, stick and rag. That means probably he was as thin as a stick. She was as thin as a stick, and she was wearing rag. Now what does rag mean? Rag means a piece of old cloth. Now she was wearing probably a very old rag-like a cloth, and she looked as thin as a stick. So probably she was a very poor woman. Now what did she say? She said, I have your secret here inside my little bag. Now she told this speaker of the poem that she has some secrets about the speaker in her little bag. That means she was holding a little bag in which she kept or had all the secrets of the young boy. We don't know who is the speaker, probably a young boy. Now there ends the first tercet. The second tercet begins with, then she began to cackle. and I began to quake. Now, what did the woman do then? The woman then started to cackle. That means she gave out a laughter. She was laughing, and I began to quake. Now, as the woman was laughing, the narrator or the speaker of the poem, he began to quake. That means he was beginning to shiver. She was quaking. That means he was shaking. There was a terrible shaking in him. He was probably was shaking in fear. Began to quake. She opened up a little bag, and I came twice away. Now, what is the saying? Saying that woman, she opened a little bag, and I came twice awake. Now, this is an interesting expression, twice awake. It has a poetic significance, twice awake. What is twice awake? I will explain to you later. Surrounded by a staring tribe, and he tied to a stake. When he saw, what did he saw? Actually, coming twice awake means coming to a new consciousness. That means the speaker or the the speaker who is speaking all these things, he was doubly awake. That means he was awake. He was in his consciousness, but when he says that I came twice awake, he is referring to his second consciousness. That means he is coming to a new consciousness from where he was. That means he was realizing something new. That was for him a second awakening. It is kind of a rebirth, re-awakening. In what sense it's a re-awakening? It's a kind of new realization. He was seeing, he was realizing something new. What did he see? He saw surrounded by a staring tribe and me tied to a stake. So he found himself to be surrounded by a staring tribe. A tribe, you know what's a tribe, and you know what does the word staring mean. Staring means fixed gazing. If you gaze at someone in a fixed form, it's called staring. So those people, they're staring at him. They are the tribal people, probably the people who were living inside the forest, inside the oak wood. They were staring at him with their dilated eyes, and he was tied. That means he was probably going to be sacrificed, tied to a stake. He was fastened with a pole where he was tied, probably pinioned. That means his arms were pinioned at his back, his hands were pinioned at his back, and probably he was going to be sacrificed. Now that's the custom that reminds us of some customs of the tribal people. They sacrifice all these things. They sacrifice, as the belief goes, that they sacrifice living beings and they burn them. And probably that kind of a sacrifice was going to happen with the speaker. The speaker saw that he was then being tied to a stake, to a pole. Probably he was to be sacrificed by those tribal people who were not only surrounding him, were also staring at him and looking at him with their dilated eyes. Probably they were very, very dissatisfied and angry with the speaker of the poem. So it was a terrible situation for the speaker, because instead of finding some deer or stag, he suddenly found himself surrounded by a tribal people, and they were almost going after him or going to sort of kill him. Now that was a kind of a sort of nightmare for the speaker. Now there ends the second tercet, of course.